Thanks a lot. Thank you all.
Into thy kingdom, but the living not forget the price they paid for our freedom. And blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are those who fought and died, for they shall be remembered. Amen.
Now the Girl Scouts will come up on stage and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Thank you. Didn't they do a good job? "73 years ago, the United States entered into the Korean conflict. So we celebrate the 70-year anniversary of the ceasefire, July 1953. It had been just 5 short years after the ridding of the world of imperialistic domination led by the Japanese and German dictatorships. We were enjoying a return to prosperity. Gone were the shortages of many consumer items that we take for granted today, like shoes, gas, tires, sugar, due to rationing to support the war effort. America and 21 allied nations found themselves in another war, in which the United States provided 90% of the forces, often called the Forgotten War. The communist regimes of Russia and China supported and encouraged the North Koreans to attack and attempt to conquer the South Korean people and force them to their communist ideology. After 3 long years of fighting and dying, 36,000 U.S. military members were killed in Korea, out of a total of around 40,000 of the United Nations forces. But another 2 to 3 million civilians were also died as a result of the war. Truce was achieved at the 39th parallel, established as the border in 1953, where it still stands today. Did you know that an assignment to Korea today is still considered a combat assignment? Also, 50 years ago, the Vietnam War was winding down. and we are going to remember them specifically at Veterans Day because that's more appropriate. So we are gathered here today to remember the fallen American military and civilians that gave their lives in the name of liberty. We have lost a total of 1,338,431 American souls in war since the American Revolution in 1775, concluding with the war in Afghanistan. These losses, however, do not include wounded, in which the advent of a new and better medical treatment saved thousands of lives, but created a whole new realm, a whole new category of veterans. The war with the second least loss of life is the war in Afghanistan. It's 2,402. The war with the most loss of American lives is the American Civil War, with a loss of 655,000 estimated, including both Union and Confederate forces. Our country was torn apart at that time, and it took a long time to heal the wounds. Today, our country is once again divided by political, ideological differences. We must put aside these differences and work together for the good of our country. So once again, welcome to the 2023 Memorial Day ceremony. I noticed there was a lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic on I-93 and 95. Campers, boats, four-wheelers, everyone bound and determined to get to New Hampshire. Most of these were Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut plates. I figure that you guys have all taken time from your holiday to join us here today. We're honored to have Congressman Chris Pappas, our Grand Marshal to his right, Maurice Tremblay, and General Don Baldock. And last but not least, our Mayor Joyce Craig, who's a big supporter of veterans, and without whose support and assistance, also from all the Manchester departments, would not be able to conduct these ceremonies. The Mayor will speak first, so without further ado, here's Mayor Joyce Craig.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here with all of you to pay respect and to honor those who selflessly served our country. To all the veterans here today and to anyone actively serving in our military, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude for your dedication and commitment to our nation. Your bravery and selflessness serve as an inspiration to all of us. It's because of your sacrifice that we're able to enjoy the freedoms and liberties that define our way of life. Memorial Day is a solemn remembrance, a day when we pause to reflect upon the courageous soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines who made the ultimate sacrifice. It's a time to honor these great American heroes who have left an indelible mark on our history. As the Mayor of Manchester, I'm proud to lead a community that holds a rich history of honoring our military personnel. Our city has a legacy of paying tribute to the brave men and women who fought and died to protect our freedom and liberty. Today, we gather in Veterans Park, a place that serves as a memorial to our veterans. Take a moment, please, and look around and witness the beautiful monuments that pay tribute to heroes of World War I, World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam War. The trees surrounding us are dedicated to the courageous Manchester residents who fought and made the ultimate sacrifice in Iraq. Thanks to the Manchester Veterans Council, we have benches and flags representing each branch of the military. The Battlefield Crosses Memorial, courtesy of the Disabled American Veterans of New Hampshire, stands as a reminder of the sacrifices made by our servicemen and servicewomen. And we are once again able to enjoy the recently restored Civil War monument and fountain to my left. This monument was originally completed in 1879 and includes an inscription that reads, "In honor of the men of Manchester who gave their services to the war, which preserved the union of the states and secured equal rights to all under the Constitution. This monument is built by a grateful city." Now, 144 years after this monument was built, we are still an extremely grateful city. We remember, pay respect, and reflect upon the sacrifices made by so many, all in the name of preserving freedom for all. I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to Dan Beliveau, Alderman Mike Lopez, Bill Moran, and the Manchester Veterans Council for their tireless effort in organizing today's parade and ceremony. Your dedication to honoring our military veterans is truly commendable, and our city is extremely grateful for your commitment. I'd also like to recognize and congratulate our Grand Marshal, Mo Tremblay, for his service and commitment to our city. As we leave this solemn gathering today, please let us carry the memories of our fallen heroes in our hearts. May their sacrifices serve as a constant reminder of the price that's been paid for our freedom. Let us strive to honor their memory by living lives that embody the ideals they fought to protect. Thank you. May God bless our veterans, our active duty military personnel, and the United States of America.
Our Grand Marshal today is Maurice Tremblay. He is a past state commander of the Catholic War Vets. Maurice Tremblay was born on January 16, 1931 in Manchester, New Hampshire. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1948, served aboard the USS Manchester during the Korean War, received the Navy Occupation, Korean Service, and United Nations medals. Mo has been employed by Pratt & Whitney, then the U.S. Postal Service, from which he retired in 1989. As a member of the Catholic War Veterans, Mo has served in many positions, receiving distinguishing awards. In 2010, and 2011, he was the state commander when he received the National Commander's Award. And in 2017, he received the St. Sebastian Medal, the highest award presented to a Catholic War veteran member at the national level. Mo has also been very active in the Lions, Little League, Boy Scouts, and he also volunteers at the VA. Mr. Tremblay truly epitomizes the Catholic War veterans' motto, "For God, country, and home," and the Lions Club motto, "We serve." It's my pleasure to honor to present Manchester's 2023 Grand Marshal, Maurice Tremblay. And the mayor has a presentation for Mo.
I have a proclamation from the City of Manchester that I'll read quickly for you. A resolution. Whereas Maurice A. Tremblay is a highly respected member of the community and a loving and dedicated father, grandfather, and great-grandfather. It was wonderful to meet two of your granddaughters today. Whereas he is an active, long-standing member in organizations such as the Manchester Lions Club and the Catholic War Veterans, having served in multiple capacities over the years. And whereas Maurice enlisted in the United States Naval Reserves after graduating high school, serving in active duty in the United States Navy from 1950 to 1952. And whereas he worked and raised his family in Manchester, continuing to give back to his community through his spiritual and civic engagement. And whereas his hard work and contributions have been recognized in accolades locally and at the state level. And whereas Maurice's commitment to service in the military in his community and in his family is admirable and worthy of emulation by all Manchester residents. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Joyce Craig, recognize Maurice A. Tremblay as an outstanding citizen of the City of Manchester, and I encourage all residents to find ways to give back to their community. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. Good afternoon. I'm going to repeat a few words that you've already received, but I worked on this all week. So, my name is Maurice Tremblay, age 92, and lived on the west side of Manchester all my life, except for the 2 years in the United States Navy aboard the USS Manchester, a light cruiser, named after our fair city as a radio operator in Korean waters, 1950-1952, then honorably discharged. Today is a day and time to remember past family members, friends, events, and particularly our dead members of the armed forces of all wars. Take time to reflect on our volunteers that provide comfort and assistance to those in need. Remember, volunteers give from the heart with love. Volunteers that made this day possible as retired Major Dan Beliveau and staff, along with all the participants in the parade. Thanks to you to Catholic War veteran, past State Department Commander Denise DuBois, who submitted my resume for review for the Marshal Parade, the Parade Marshal. I'm overwhelmed and honored to be selected by the Veterans Council to represent Manchester. Thank you to my wife and family for their support that allowed me to experience so many pleasant memories while serving our youth and elderly. If we are going to enjoy parades and services of volunteers, some of you will have to step up to the plate and enter into the world of giving of yourself and helping others fulfill your life with new friends, new challenges, feel needed and useful. Volunteer in nonprofits, the church, Veterans Hospital, Veterans Organization, and so many others. It's a fact. Membership is falling at a fast pace with no replacements. In closing, I urge you to keep supporting events that are sponsored in Manchester for your pleasure and enjoyment. Enjoy the rest of the day. God bless America. Oh, wait a minute, I'm not finished. On Saturday, June 24th, 2023, the Manchester Lions will be celebrating 100 years of service to the city of Manchester at the Puritan Restaurant. Congratulations, and wishing you members continued success in all your endeavors in helping the less fortunate. By the way, I have a membership application if someone wants one.
Thank you, Mo. That was very good. Especially the wait a minute. You caught me, I was getting ready to stand up. So at this time, I'd like to present Congressman Chris Pappas, who's born in Manchester, graduated from Central High School and Harvard College. He served from 2013 to 2019 in the New Hampshire Executive Council. In 2019, he was elected to U.S. Congress. He's a ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Disability Assistance and Memorial Affairs, among his many other committee assignments. Please welcome Manchester's own Congressman Chris Pappas.
Well, thank you so much, Commander, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be able to join you here, and I want to thank everyone who has spoke to this point, including Mayor Craig, all of our veterans who are here on the stage and out in the audience and their families, thank you for your service. And to the Grand Marshal of this great parade, thank you for your service and for connecting that to your contributions to this community that span decades. We're really grateful for your presence here, and thank you for putting in a plug for people to get involved in the community. There's no time like today to look for ways to give back. I think it's fitting that we stand in the shadow of this newly refurbished monument to the veterans of the Civil War, men who fought for the Union cause, who came from the city of Manchester and who put their lives on the line to preserve the Union. This holiday that we mark today has its roots in the wake of the Civil War. And it didn't come from a proclamation in Washington, D.C. It came from folks in communities like Manchester that started to gather, started to pray, to honor the memory of those who were lost in that incredible war. It was first known as Decoration Day and later Memorial Day, which eventually became a federal law. But it's really important that folks at the community level continue to find ways to turn out, to march in parades, and certainly to keep the lives and memories of those who have been lost in defense of this nation alive. Granite Staters have a long and proud history of answering America's call to defend democracy and freedom across the globe. They have been called to serve themselves, and while their family and friends may not wear a uniform, we know that they serve right alongside them. It's an honor to be able to represent the veteran community in Washington and to do what I can to try to find solutions for our veterans to improve the care and benefits that they receive through the Department of Veterans Affairs. I do that as a member of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. It's my most important assignment in Washington. You know, today, every gravestone that you see, every monument, every flower, every American flag has so many stories behind it, and it's really a tribute to those who gave their life in defense of the concept of America. I know we all think of individuals that laid down their lives for this country on a day like today. I'm thinking in particular of Sergeants Richard Raymond, Robert Robichaux, Guy Blanchette, Gaten Bodwin, Staff Sergeant Richard Genest, who were all members of the New Hampshire National Guard serving in Vietnam. Several of them lived in the same block on Manchester's west side. They were killed in action in 1969 in Binh Duong province when their truck hit a landmine, and they were about 1 week short of returning home to New Hampshire. I think as well of Marine Lance Corporal Adam Brooks from Manchester. He was a 2003 graduate of Central High School. He and his wife were married on Memorial Day 2004, just 6 months before he was killed on patrol in Baghdad. These are just some of the names we think of, heroes from right here in the Queen City. And we know that all across our great state, folks are marking this Memorial Day, thinking about the brothers and sisters, husbands and wives, sons and daughters who are absent and who aren't returning home. They're marked each and every day by these families with an empty chair at the dinner table, with a bedroom that's frozen in time, with a missing voice at the other end of a phone line. So we together are the keepers of what Lincoln said was the great task remaining before us, to ensure that those who have laid down their life for this country didn't do so in vain. So I want to thank the Manchester Veterans Council for putting on this event. Thank you for all turning out, and thank you to the veterans among us for their patriotism, for their commitment to this nation. Let's remember the fallen. Let's celebrate the service of all of our veterans, and let's as a community continue to come together to find ways to support them. I think New Hampshire does that better than anywhere else across this country. So may God bless our great country, our troops in harm's way, all of our veterans, and thank you, and wish you all a mindful Memorial Day.
Thank you, Chris. Our senators, U.S. senators, could not make it here today, but they sent me a letter, which didn't get printed for some reason. So I'll read it. Dear veterans, families, and friends, I wish I could be with you in person on this year's ceremony. Memorial Day is a time to reflect on our nation's values and to salute each and every military member who gave the ultimate sacrifice to defend those ideals and their fellow citizens. These people exemplify the very best of the American spirit, and I join you in remembering and honoring their sacrifice throughout our history, America has called on its best and brightest to defend our nation and fight for freedom. Generations of service members have answered with a sense of bravery, selflessness, humility, and an unwavering commitment to country. They brought these values and more onto the battlefield alongside another shared principle, a willingness to give their lives, sustain the promise of a just and free America for future generations. Pausing to consider the meaning of their sacrifice is one small way we can ensure that the memory of these courageous service members will live on. We honor not only those brave warriors and true patriots on Memorial Day, but also the proud parents, devoted spouses, loving children, and loyal friends who live every day with their loved ones. Strength of spirit to the Gold Star families who feel the burden of this incredible loss today. My best wishes to you all on this special day of remembrance. Sincerely, Shaheen, U.S. Senator. Dear friends, I regret that I cannot be with you today, but I join you in honoring America's and New Hampshire's fallen. These men and women made the ultimate sacrifice for our country, safeguarding our freedom and allowing our democracy to endure. During today's wreath laying and parade, we remember the selfless and bravery of those we lost and recommit ourselves to honor their memories and the ideals for which they gave their lives. Our democracy has endured for more than 200 years because members of each successive generation have been willing to step up and risk their lives in order to defend our country and protect our freedoms. We owe these patriots a debt of gratitude that we can never fully repay, but we must always strive to ensure that our country is ever worthy of their service and sacrifice. I'd like to thank everyone here today for your commitment to recognizing this sacred day of remembrance. As we honor the courage of the fallen, we must also honor their sacrifice by recommitting ourselves to supporting their families, as well as all those who have followed in their footsteps, both during their time in uniform and after they have returned to civilian life. Thank you to the Manchester Veterans Council for organizing today's events, and thank you all for the service members, veterans, and their families for your dedication to our country. I look forward to continuing to work together to help ensure our country remains safe, secure, and free. With every good wish, Margaret Wood Hassan, United States Senator. Our keynote speaker today is General Donald Baldock. First off, I've got to tell you that this is an abbreviated version of General Baldock's bio. I don't think I could keep your attention if I read his entire bio. General Don Baldock was born and raised in Laconia. He grew up working on the historic Baldock Farm in Guilford. His father, Armand Baldock, was a Laconia city councilor for 34 years, a very widely respected statesman. Donald Baldock enlisted in the United States Army after achieving the rank of sergeant. He decided to go to college. So he attended Salem State University and joined the ROTC program. He graduated as a distinguished military graduate and received a commission as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. This began what would be a heroic 33-plus year career in the United States Army Special Forces community. During this time with the Army, he commanded many of our nation's most famous units during the global war on terror. He led one of the first groups of Special Forces soldiers into Afghanistan, the ones that you may remember were on horseback. He also led the 3rd Special Forces Group in Operation Medusa, one of the most significant operations during the Afghanistan War. His unit was credited with the success of the operation, uprooting the Taliban's tight grip on Kandahar province. Baldock also commanded the Joint Special Operations Forces component responsible for Afghanistan village stability operations, bringing training and development to key rural areas. General Baldock served on the Joint Staff in the Office of the Secretary of Defense and aide to the Secretary of the Army, routinely briefing high-level government officials, including members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the President of the United States. His final post of his military career was a Special Forces Africa commander. By the end of his career, he had been awarded the Defense Service Medal, the Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, 5 Bronze Stars with Valor Device, 2 Purple Hearts, Army Commendation Medal with Valor Device, and numerous other awards from our allies. He is also one of the few survivors of a helicopter crash and a 2000 bomb that inadvertently targeted on his own position by friendly fire. After returning home to New Hampshire, General Baldock has been a tireless advocate to combat the stigma around the treatment of post-traumatic stress. He was one of the few senior military officers and the only active duty general officer on record at the time to discuss his own struggles with PTS. The main reason that I'm reading General Baldock's bio is to bring to light everything he has accomplished during his career in the fight for freedom, so you'll understand that he speaks from experience, the experience of doing, of being immersed in a reality of war of the 21st century. Listen well, my friends, for no greater special operator has graced our presence here in Manchester. So without further ado, and please, loud applause, please welcome General Donald Baldock.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I don't stand in front of podiums because I'm vertically challenged, and so I want to stand in front of it to give you the illusion that I'm a little bit taller than I actually am. But here we are today. No more important day, I believe, in our nation's history than when we decided to remember our fallen. And it's been said, and it's been accredited to many people, so please don't accredit this to me. But it is simple and it is true. A nation that forgets its fallen is soon to be a nation that is forgotten. And we must always remember the men and women who have sacrificed and given the full measure of their life for our safety and our security and our freedom. They do this because they believe in something bigger than themselves. They believe in something that has been given to us by God, our inalienable rights, the rights of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the rights of justice, honor, integrity, character. These things that are words to some people, but to others, they have given their life for. And they would do it again. I can tell you that the 72 men and women that I lost under my commands, if they were able to do it again, knowing what the consequences would be, I know firmly in my heart that they would do it again, and again, and again. And that is why? Because there is no other greater nation in the world than America. And although America may not be perfect at times, we are the best. We represent the best. We will continue to represent the best. We need to ensure that our children and our grandchildren manifest those ideas of life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, freedom, God, family, community, country. Look around, that's what we see here today. We have been blessed by God to be here, to be gathering together. As Psalms 133 says, how good and pleasing is it when men and women gather together as one. Set aside the differences. Set aside those things that separate us. Look around. I have learned this lesson in my life. I have learned it recently. I have learned it throughout my life. That nothing is more important than unity. Nothing is more important than coming together and doing the best we can for each other. And those that have given their lives did that. They came together. And what many of you hear out here, and what many of you need to hear, and what we want to hear, and what we have to hear, is Isaiah 6:8. And it's simple, but it's true. And if we would think of this every day, we would come together and put our best foot forward for each other. Because nothing is more important than that. I heard a voice of the Lord say, whom shall we send? Who will go for us?
We will.
Then I heard a voice say, here I am, send me.
Send me, Lord.
And that is indicative of the men and women on this stage who have come forward, either in elected capacity as a public servant, or volunteers, or veterans, or teachers, or police, or fire, and all those that have lived in their communities all their lives doing one thing, and that's giving back. That's what Memorial Day is all about. That's what remembering the spirit of these men and women is all about. And they would tell you that. When I close my eyes at night, I can see many of the men and women that I lost. I can hear their voice. I can hear their children's voice, their wives' voices. I think of the letters that I wrote to their families. And yes, some of those had tears from my eyes that dropped on those letters as I penned those words. We should not forget this. This is what Memorial Day is about. But more importantly, it's about how they lived and the lives that they lived and the full measure of their life that they gave us so that we can be free, so that we can live, so that we can love our families and live inside a community where we can get the help that we need in a country that is a beacon, that is a representation of what many, many people in this world strive to have. Peace, liberty, freedom, justice. And I ask you today, please bring that with you. Please carry that with you. I am here with my wife today and my grandchildren because of family. I am here representing men and women that have gone in the past. Think about how sad it is that the most casualties we've had in war is the war that we've had in our own country. Let's never let that happen again. Let's make sure that that never happens again by coming together through faith, love, and hope. I wish you all the best. God bless you. God bless your families, and live free or die. Thank you.
Thank you, General. So at this time, I'm going to have the wreath laying with Mayor Joyce Craig and our Grand Marshal, Maurice Tremblay, will walk the wreath down to the bell. Once they're there and they place the wreath, the firing detail from Post 2 Sweeney will fire 3 volleys. So if you have small children, have them ready. After the volleys, the memorial band will play taps and then the national anthem. It's customary for service members to salute during taps and the national anthem, and others may put their hand over their heart.
Thank you.